Hey everyone, it's Jamie here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into round 4 of the Code Racing League in Tier 1 and we're headed to one of the most iconic circuits in motorsport history. Here we are at the Monza Grand Prix. Expect high speeds, close battles and maybe a bit of drama as the top tier drivers fight for points and pride at the top of the temple of speed. You don't want to miss this one, so buckle up, hit that like button and let's get racing, and subscribe to the Code channel as we now enter this 18-minute qualifying session here in Monza as well. How are you all doing? My name is Joe Morris and I'll be taking you through tonight's action as well. As we're here for the 18 minutes on the clock, it's time to set the tone for round 4 here. Short qualifying begins, and make no mistake because this session could define your entire night as well. Very important qualifying at a track like this where lap times are separated by thousands of a second and overtaking comes by 350 kilometers down towards the straight as well. Track position is everything. Monza may look simple on paper, but it's anything but simple. The key here, nailing every single braking zone as well. Turn 1, the very out to deliver chicane, and Ascari out of all places where a few meters too wide could cost you a lot as well. So very important to stay within the confines of the track limits around this circuit. Now, coming on board with Jasper here in the McLaren as welcome, Alex, mate. Nice to have you in the chat. But Jasper was a bit of a menace to everybody back at the Silverstone Grand Prix. Loved by some, hated by others. And what I mean by that is he was hated by the people who were on the hardcore power tyres at the very start of the Grand Prix because they wanted to go for the ultra strategy to harness the mediums and attack the people on the hardcore power tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. But unfortunately, Jasper, as Alex is in the session then. So there's going to be 20 drivers in this race and it's going to make a full grid as well. So I can't wait to see, as Alex hasn't been around since what, season 11, I believe it was. I think he scored a podium back at the Singapore Grand Prix. That was such a chaotic race where Seymour Gamer should have won. But it was a double raceable podium, wasn't it? Because it was Alex and also Duval who took a double podium as well. I'm looking for the other 19, says Alex. So go on board with the first driver out there, which is his best friend Mick in the McLaren then. So we're headed down in towards turn 1. Speeds about 345 kilometers an hour. We hit the rev limiter as we head down towards the tricky breaker zone, in towards 1, in towards 2, a quick flick and a change of direction, back in the power again. Very nice and smooth there as well because it's so easy to endure massive wheel spin out of turn 2, climbing up to the gears, back in the power once again as we head down in towards the second deliver chicane, hitting the 100-meter board. Down to the gears we go, in towards this chicane we go. It looks like it was a very conservative way he went in towards that chicane because it wasn't really attacking it, but maybe because of its first lap time he doesn't want to push too hard and therefore ruin his lap. He wants to get a nice banker because in qualifying you want to set your reference points, set your marker and try and achieve your targets later on in the qualifying session too. So plenty more time in hand for Mick to find here in qualifying. Braking on the 100-meter board, down through in towards the Ascari as well. Very tricky corner as well. Flick the car in, carrying the speed all the way through as Mick did go out wide a bit in towards that chicane, but nevertheless it's his first lap time. Plenty of improvements as we hit the 50-meter board. Down through parabolic we go. Back with the power once again then as he squares the car up, taking the shortest distance as he will cross the line. Who's that Haas going slowly? It's a 19.003 for ILT Mick as well, as we now have other people coming towards the line to complete their flying laps. We've got Jasper right behind him too in the racing ball. Let's see what Jasper could do in the racing ball. Goes quicker than Mick. It's an 18.805 and he's quicker than him by 200ths of a second, or just under 200 seconds as well, to be that exact. As we see then, our main competitors out there, Seymour Gamer, a man who hasn't stepped on the podium yet this season, a man who has controlled the races very nicely, but in the second part, as Bosch Evans goes quickest, Bompia goes up into P2, exactly 300s quicker than Jasper, and Harrison goes towards the top of the timing sheets with an 18.213 then, so that's 2/10 clear of Bosch Evans in P2. So we could hit the 17s as well, and that is going to be a mighty lap time if anybody does that with a low 17 or high 17. Not quite sure what the pole lap is an idea in comparison towards last game, but I'm pretty sure we'll definitely reach the 17s as well. But on board with Seymour Gamer as he now makes his way towards the chicane we go. Through Ascari, taking the curbs very nicely, maximising every single part of the racetrack as now we head down towards this back straight. No DRS of course in towards this back straight because it leads in towards a heavy braking zone. Heading in towards Parabola we go. You do hit the brakes going into there, but I'm not quite sure why DRS hasn't been enabled on this particular part of the track, but never mind, that's something to discuss later on. But but Sieb is making his way towards the line. His first lap time is going to be an 18.5, and that cheeky Haas behind him, is it Kenny in 16th place there who wants a bit of a slipstream? Yes, it is. It is Kenny. No, it's not. It's AJ Wuhan who is picking up a toe there, but Sieb goes up into P4 just behind Bompia. Now, there has been an update on the game, and it does look a bit weird in terms of my graphics here as well, because it seems like everything's changed a little bit. Are the graphics on the left-hand side pushed more towards the left, or is it just me? Because it seems like I can see a lot of things right now, because the graphics on the left-hand side were quite big, and it took up a lot of room as well on the main screen. So it looks like the game has updated and changed it a bit too, as we've got the McLaren driver headed down in towards the sky. But last time out at the British GP, it was Nathan JB who took the victory. I didn't mean to rhyme it there, but yes, he was. He took the victory after commanding drive, defending from Reservoir in the closing stages of that race. And Nathan, talk about him, goes quickest with an 18.153, and that is on provisional pole. I don't think it's a pole back in Silverstone. I think it was Jeroen Visser, and De Moors is making his way towards the line. It's P14 for him in the McLaren, just behind Ronnie Stiffwood. So those guys are in at the 18s here, as Bosch Evans doing a relatively good job as we're on board with the Red Bull driver of Isak Kush, who finished, I think, at a P7 at the British GP. He was also one of the drivers that started on the hardcore power tyres. Here he is, making his way towards the final corner in Parabolica as we exit now, taking his Red Bull all the way to the line. Is going to be an 18.6, and he pops that Red Bull in between the two Kick Saubers. Unfortunately, I think Leroy left at the British GP, didn't he? Because he was in a high position. Both Saubers were on the podium as well in P2 and P3, but Leroy left the session, and it split him up as well. Reservoir was left to attack Nathan, but he didn't have the battery left, did he, on that straight to overtake him, as he was reversed around. So can Reservoir take the victory? Kick Sauber have slowly but surely been kicking off their campaign to a slow start, it must be said, with the strategy not being the correct one in Monza, in Bahrain. They did a two-slot strategy, which wasn't the way to go. The tyre wear wasn't as sufficient as other people's, and therefore they dropped all the way to the back of the field. Not the back, but the midfield, and they got stuck there too, because the two-stop lost them a lot of time, and they got caught up in the midfield shenanigans as well. Watch out for tactics as well, because some people, it is beneficial around here as well, so why not? Some people could orchestrate the slipstream as well. So let's see which teammates or who will work together, because it's not necessarily teammates that work together, it's people who are friends with each other as well, close friends. So I wonder if anybody is going to give each other a slipstream, as AJ Wuhan is round the final corner to open up a flying lap around here in Monza, and let's see then how he progresses on his flying lap. AJ Wuhan, a quiet P5 at the Bahrain Grand Prix, and he gets, oh, the Aston Martin there. It's AJ Wuhan. Was he a bit? He is frustrated because the Aston Martin wasn't paying attention, and was that free fall out of the pit lane? No, it wasn't. It was the other Aston Martin, who is the other Aston Martin? I can't particularly find him. Where is he? Bompia. Wow, it is IRT Bompia who got in the way of AJ Wuhan, and that is surprising coming from a driver like his caliber as well, to be getting in the way just coming out of the pit lane too. So that could be a penalty headed towards his way. He didn't necessarily block him, but at the same time though, AJ Wuhan had no idea where Bompia was going to go, so that's why he was a bit hesitant going towards turn, because he had no idea if Bompia would jump towards the right or stay on the race line as well. So he was second guessing where Bompia was going to go, but unfortunately AJ Wuhan got his ruined lap. His lap ruined entirely as well. We are past the halfway mark in qualifying. 9 minutes is down, 9 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. And so far, it is Nathan JB who occupies first place to a great start here in qualifying. We've got plenty of things to talk about, but you know what Monza's like. It is super, super quick as well. The tempo of speed, and there's so much as well to talk about, as it's a 5.7 kilometer track. It opened up in 1922, but of course, was in the calendar for the first Formula 1 race in 1950, the official championship in F1. As Bompia then, one of our main heavy hitters who hasn't won a Grand Prix yet this season, has been defeated by Speed Crown 2 of the previous occasions. He finished P3 after a quiet race back in the Silverstone Grand Prix, a bit deep in towards one, but hugs it in towards turn 2, flicks the car in very aggressively as well to get the turn in and get back in the power as quickly as he would have wanted. Now on towards this short straight, heading down in towards the Variante Outer chicane, not the Variante Outer, the Della Rocha chicane, as we now hit the 100 meter board in towards the second chicane. Take it very nicely. It is so easy, because if you mess up the first part, you're guaranteed to mess up the second part too, as you want to clip the apexes going towards the second chicane as well. Very aggressive stuff indeed. Very accurate, very precise, as Bolpia in the second Lesmo unfortunately lost the car, and his lap time has been completely ruined too. LT Mick is doing a really good job, up into P6, so much better from Mick after, let's say, not a good start to the season, it must be honest, with his actions back at the Dutch GP when he took out CRL as well, going towards turn 7, but Mick is up into P6 right now, his best qualifying results so far here in CRL2. So let's see if the Dutchman can continue this performance as well. Sweet Crown usually leaves it late as well. We've got Kenny, who is a winner here in CRL as well, has taken multiple podiums as well here in CRL, and he's a very good he's a very good driver as well, good contender for this tier, as we now see him coming towards the first Lesmo and second Lesmo. Is he on a lap time? I think he is. He's pushing hard on his second lap, so using all the chocolate outside there, where we saw Kevin Madison and Franco Colapinto as well when he first raced around here, got off the track in Q1. And Kenny is making his way down towards this Ascari chicane here as well. Look at that. Oh, just invalidating there in the first part too. Nathan JB is coming in the flying lap just behind him as he now takes the Ascari chicane, and he takes it very nicely as well, carrying the gears, carrying the speed all the way through into our 6th gear as we head down towards this back straight, picking up a little bit of a toe off the Williams in front of him as we head down towards Parabolica. I believe that Williams in front of us is starting a flying lap then, but giving Nathan a nice slipstream all the way through as Nathan JB crosses the line. It's a 17.992. He is the first driver to be set in the 70s as well. What a lap time there from Nathan JB. Blistering pace from the RPA driver, kicking off where he left off back at the Silverstone Grand Prix. He really is picking up some form, some momentum as well, heading towards this one. It's half ILT versus Relentless as well, with a few people from different teams, as well as Reservoir heads down towards turn 1, but not on a flying lap then, as we've got Dari on the back straight for Ferrari. His teammate is Bosch Evans in P3 just in front of us as well, so I wonder if Bosch Evans is giving Dari a slipstream there, which is very nice indeed, but Bosch Evans went out wide on his outlap. Could that be an validation for this next lap as Dari makes his way towards line P7 for the German driver, but back on board with Bosch Evans in P3? I wonder, was that a validation? No, it wasn't, so just got away with it as we head down towards turn 1. Oh dear. So Bosch Evans there completely cuts the corner. I'm not quite sure. I think he is a bit frustrated that the Williams in front of us is right in front of him too. Yes, it's nice to get a slipstream, but with the dirty air being so powerful as well and being so efficient on this game, you don't want the dirty air, especially through the middle sector as well, where the aerodynamics are affected and you can't get the perfect lap time you need as well. As Seaboard Gamer is a 10th up in the first sector, it could have been him that was in the way as Bosch Evans there gets back on the track in frustration as we head down towards the second Lesmo, as Isak Kush goes up into P3 in the Red Bull 2 with an 18.399. There is so many things I want to talk about, but first of all, in this qualifier session, we need to focus on it's a 51.9, and he's currently 4/10 up in this middle sector. An absolute mighty sector there for Seaboard Gamer as he continues powering his way towards Parabolica. We go. Reaches speed about 343 kilometers an hour as we head down in towards the final corner. We go. Turn 11. Very easy to make a mess up as well. We saw Kimi Antonelli as well crashed there in previous years, last year too. But here comes Steve towards the line. Is this pole? It is! Pole for Seaboard Gamer with a 17.939, separated by a few hundredths of a second. And AJ Wuhan goes up into P3 as well. A much better competitive lap time than for AJ, getting closer and closer towards the top end of the field where he needs to be as well, as majority of drivers are in the pit lane then, just preparing for the final laps around here, as we've got a tier 2 driver of Freefall make his way towards this second straight then as we head down towards Parabolica. So let's see then his middle sector, what it's going to be like for Freefall. It is 2/10 up. He's looking to try and get himself inside the 80s. Of course, he's a tier 2 driver, so we don't really expect much from him. He is very fast indeed, but I don't think he's had a lot of practice, has he, around here in Monza, because he is a reserve driver. He's either going to compensate with me or try for the numbers up as we head down in towards Parabolica for Freefall. Let's see what lap time this is for the Aston Martin driver. Is it anywhere near the top of the field? Is it going to be P16 still? No? Where is he right now? P16, yeah, still P16 with an 18.8 there for Freefall. Did improve, but unfortunately not his time. Not his position, sorry. Back on board with Bob Pierre then in the Aston Martin, and he is relatively close towards Isak Kush, towards Speedcrowd, sorry, at the top of the standards too. So I need to get up the championship standards because, like I said, there's a lot to talk about. So Bob Pierce second place behind Sweet Crown. He did take a few points away from him in the last race, and the gap is 7 points between Sweet Crown and Bob Pierce too. And further behind, the Seymour Gamer has had a few misfortunes as well, it must be said. Back in Bahrain when he got that penalty, back at the Dutch GP when he picked a penalty too. So it's not been a clean start for Sieb. A very quick driver, but unfortunately, Sieb's got quickest, yes, with the 17.9. I just noticed that too. But we've got Bob Pierre as well in the Aston Martin make his way towards the line, or the final corner. On board with Bob Pierre as he makes his way towards the line to start up a flying lap around here, and let's see how he does on his potential last flying lap as he powers his way down towards the main straight. 340 kph as we head down towards turn 1, scrubbing off all the speed as well. 80 kilometers an hour in both corners, back on the power as well. You can see the rear end complaining as he tried to break traction, as now we heard through the curb guarded too, as we saw Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton have a battle back here in 2019 as well when Leclerc was defending from Hamilton. 2 tenths up in the first set is Bob Pierce. So nice improvement as he flicks the car in going towards this second chicane as well, as he's trying to be so aggressive. Where is he? Currently P7 is Bob Pierce too, as we now make our way towards the first and the second Lesmo. Not really clean towards the first Lesmo, went a bit wide there as well, but second part of the Lesmo he hooked up really nicely as well, trying to use every single part of the racetrack, using all the curb on the outside as he heads down towards the Ascari chicane. A tenth and a half up in the middle sector is Bob Pierre, carrying the speed all the way through into 5th gear, up into 6th as well, revving the car out, and now we're headed down in towards the far north corner. Just breathe a little bit before we focus on towards the final corner, where he's going to brake about 50 metres. Yes, he is. In towards the final corner he goes there, back in the power once again as well, as let's see what lap time is this going to be for Bob Pierre. Is he going to be anywhere near the top? As we're about to find out right now, an 18.2 as Bob Pierre goes up into P5 then. So P5 for Bob Pierre is second place in the championship, who finished I think P3 back in Silverstone. As Reservoir heads down towards turn 1, Bob Pierre however has got a consistent run of form so far, because he's the only driver in the CRL this season to score a podium in every single race so far this season too. P2s and P3s. Can he finally get first place? But so far it's not all about winning, it's all about being consistent too. And he's laying down those early foundations to try and set up the championship too later on, and potentially try and take those points away from Sweet Crown, because Sweet Crown's won in the last 2 races except from Silverstone, as Reservoir goes out wide in the first Lesmo and keeps going as well, and second Lesmo too. So he really is exploiting the track limits around here too, and got away with it twice. So twice he's got away with it, and let's see if he's up or down. Surely up, no down, 4 tenths of a second there. So he is not on a competitive lap time for his standards either. So let's go on board with somebody else. Demors is up to P17 there. Kenny hasn't set a lap time either. As AJ, we've got our main competitors then on a flying lap with 6 seconds left to go in qualifying. The first driver where I'm going to go on board with is Isak Kush. Stay on board with him to see what he does as he's further up the road. I don't want to keep flicking through to make sure I don't miss anybody, but Isak Kush down in the sector there, but can he make it up? He's currently in P6 with an 18.3. Is Bob Pierre then? His qualifying has been concluded, and he will start P5 the best as Jasper goes up into P12 in the Racing Bulls. Mick is still P8 as Harrison goes up into P2. A tremendous qualifying from him in P2 there. 1,000 quicker than Nathan in P3. Nathan's on the lap time. Here comes Isak Kush towards the line, and it is only P6 for him as Bosch Evans is retired out of a Sky, I believe it is. But Nathan is down in middle sector, up and down in the first and middle sector as he makes his way towards this caution, because there's a caution going down towards Sky, but cleared up immediately. So nobody taking ball away from Steve at the moment, but we've still got Nathan JB, we've got AJ Wuhan on a flying lap too as they cross the line, as we now head towards the final corner we go. Let's see if Nathan can take pole around here. He took the win back in Silverstone, but can he take pole around here in Monza, the Temple of Speed, as he makes his way towards the line? What's it going to be? An 18.0, and unfortunately he did not take pole, but Steve Gamer is up. Let's see then, can he smash his own pole up time? He can, with a 17.802, and he's on pole over or under 2 tenths of a second there, so great time from him. Leroy is the last one to cross the line. There he is at P11, but unfortunately he has invalidated, and that is it for qualifying then. Qualifying is done and dusted around here in Monza as we move on to the race. That will see qualifying then. Qualifying is done and dusted here in Monza, and so far Sieb is the quickest. 3 drivers only in the 17s there. 1,000 separated from Harrison and Nathan JB. Just 5 margins around this racetrack. AJ in P4, 3 tenths further back with Bob in 5th ahead of Isak Kush. Bosch Evans in P7. Great qualifying from both Ferraris inside the top 10. Mick in P9 ahead of Resify and Leroy Jasper in P12. Ps and Sweetcon outliers there in 13 to 14. Expected more from them, but maybe in the race. Crossley in P15 ahead of Freefall, Demorts, and the guys at the back of the field too. So we move on to the race. Of course, a formation lap, and it should be a 29 lap race around here in Monza. So I'll be back with you for the race. I'll take a short break on the formation lap because it is me as a solo commentator. You've got so many things you want to talk about. Oh, it's a wet race around here, which completely changes the trajectory of this race as well. And it's going to be so interesting headed down in towards Turn 1. When was the last time I had a race around here in Monza? Was it 2008, pure memory, because we had wet qualifier sessions in Monza in 2017, didn't we? But Grosjean crashed on the main straight. We had Stroll qualify second place ahead of Ocon as well, because both Red Bulls took a penalty and both Ferraris didn't do well either around here in qualifying. Hamilton took pole by a blistering lap time too. But I'm trying to think of the last race around here, other than 2008, of course. So just let me have a scroll back to my memories in my head and try and figure out when it was. Yes, I could comfortably say I think 2008 was the last time we had a wet race around here. And guess who won that day? Sebastian Vettel in the Toro Rosso as well. He took pole ahead of Heikki Kovalainen and finished in first place. It was Vettel. I think it was Kovalainen and Kubica P2 and P3 as well. And of course, that is my favourite time to mention the Monza Grand Prix, because my favourite driver of all time is Sebastian Vettel, of course, being a big Seb fan, and I cannot forget his win around here in 2008 as well. In Toro Rosso as well, a midfield team. Toro Rosso, interestingly, also beat Red Bull in the Constructors as well, so that was quite embarrassing. But the formation lap is about to go underway. Everybody on the intermediate tyres, of course. What's it going to be like down towards Turn 1? A heavy braker zone, and this could be a recipe for disaster, as I'll be back with you very shortly to take a short break and get some fluid. Formation lap is on as well, so everybody on the intermediate compound tyres for this wet race, and going to be something interesting as well. Headed down towards Turn 1, a heavy braking zone. Remember back in 2011 when I think it was Antonio Liuzzi who wiped out 2 drivers. I think it was Petrov and Nico Rosberg down in towards Turn 1 when he completely took them both out during that race too. But hopefully we won't see anything like that too. We can have some dramatic starts here in Monza as well. Turn 1 is such a heavy braking zone. Very easy to lose your wing, very easy to get pushed off the track as well and misjudge your braking zone. So it's going to be a caution headed down towards Turn 1, but aggressive, because lap 1 you either can make up to most places or that's where you lose the race as well, because like they said, races are not won on lap 1, but you can make up a lot of ground too, as it's very easy to be stuck in the DRS train in the midfield. And also as well in the wet conditions, it is super difficult to overtake around here in the DRS train as well. So 20 drivers lined up on the grid. Kenny did not get a lap time, neither did Alex down there, P19. Ronnie Stifford will start 18th place, Nolan. And let's see if the outliers, let's say Sweet Crown Peas, can make up towards the back in the field. I expect something from Kenny as well, from down there P20. But it is Sieb and Harrison who share the front row, and could be an incredible race to watch as well. Just waiting for the lights on the gantry. There are the lights then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And we are underway for the Monza Grand Prix. The racing in the background did not get a good start, but Sieb, however, is level pegging with Harrison as we head down in towards turn 1. Sieb covers the inside line off there, chops across Harrison as we head down towards turn 1. Contact already as Harrison and Sieb go side by side. Into 1, into 2 we go. Let's see which one of these two will get a better exit. And Sieb has the outside line, better traction as he maintains the lead of the Grand Prix. But I believe in RP, Nathan JB in the wall, goes over the ball. It's Isak Kush who is in the wall and out of the Grand Prix already. And that could cause a safety car. A safety car has been caused and it slows the race down too. Such a traumatic start, like I mentioned as well, towards the start of the Monza Grand Prix. But Sieb, however, maintains the lead of the Grand Prix because he covered across Harrison, and Harrison was forced to go around the outside in towards 1, on the inside line in towards turn 2. But Sieb, however, had better traction, better purchase and stayed ahead of the Mercedes driver too. So what a dramatic start already to this Grand Prix, as we see then what happened. Mick has fallen down into P19, so a horrendous start there from the McLaren driver, from P9 to P19, and Isak Kush is out of the race already. So podium sitter back in Bahrain, but unfortunately out of the race here in Monza. Safety car has been come out, of course, so we'll take a short break and I'll be back with you very shortly. So Nathan JB is in the pit lane. He was the driver who broke his wing. Nathan as well, like, for some reason, he always breaks his from wings as well, as Kenny has a 10-second penalty. Remember back in Bahrain, I think in Azerbaijan as well, and other races like Spain, Qatar, previous seasons where on the first lap it hasn't gone well for him at all. I remember back in Spain, I think in 2000, a few seasons ago, and when he broke his wing in towards turn 4 as well. So Nathan JB, a horror shock of a start, down towards P17, and will be joined at the back of the field. But his brother, however, is up into P3 as well. So a great start there for AJ Wuhan in P3, a man who qualified and started inside the top 10 at the British GP as well, and who hasn't really had the best look of races either, because he got pushed down towards Division 2 a few seasons ago, and he's back in Division 1. And we'll see how AJ then transpires throughout the rest of the race. He's got the Bosch Evans, he's got Bompierre right behind him too. Bompierre, second place in the championship. He knows this is a day where he could take a lot of points away from Speed Crown down to P11 as well, because Speed Crown's in P11. Mick might not have graduated from primary school, says Isak Kush. So I think that Mick and Isak Kush have came together down towards the second corner as well. So that's probably why Isak Kush is out of the race as well. So Mick probably been a menace as well. He hasn't raced for such a long time, has our team Mick, but sometimes you forget to understand what it's like to race in Division 1, because it's boiled over, high pressure as well. Can't afford to make any mistake. Jasper is up into P10. Up 2 places is Jasper there. Just waiting for the safety car to appear in the pit lane, and we could go racing once again. It is Sieb who maintains the lead ahead of Harrison. So the top 2, as they started, well, they are where they started, as AJ Wuhan and Bob made at 1 place due to the expense of Nathan. Bosch Evans is up 2 places, up into P5 he goes. Both Saubers, P6 and P7 there, have made up 4 places. Dory stayed where he started. Pease is up into P9, and he's made up 4 places too. As Jasper's up into P10, Speed Crown up 3 places, 3-4 made up 4 places ahead of Crossley and Demorts. What is Difford as well, and the biggest loser is Mick, Isak Kush and Nathan JB, and Kenny, who's in the pit lane once again. He's made up 2 places as he started in last place then. A huge contrast for Nathan's race, after being so commanding of the British GP, having thorough pace and being able to keep up with Jeroen Visser, who spun out of turn 6, I believe it was, and into Brooklyn, or out of Brooklyn shall I say, because it was reversed. And it was funny because it's such a reverse, it's ironic as well, because last time I raced at Silverstone, I can't remember what it was, but I think it was season 9 or 10, and he started 17th place, made his way up to first, then from first to last, unfortunately, after retiring early doors in the Grand Prix too. So that really hindered Jeroen Visser's race, and such a change of fortune as well for the McLaren driver. Of course, Jeroen is not here tonight either, so it's a shame for Jeroen because twice he's raced around here in CRL this season. He had a race ban or season ban, didn't he, after taking out Nathan, George Russell, I think, in season 9 or 10. But he's back, and unfortunately as well, the 2 races he's been in so far hasn't gone particularly his way. Back at the Dutch GP when he picked up a drive-through penalty, and also back in Silverstone when he spun around out of Brooklands too, so hasn't gone his way. We're just waiting for the safety car to come in, as Kenny is the last one in P19, and hopefully we could continue with this 27-lap race. I said 29 laps, it's 27 laps, apologies about that one. As in, Sauber there, just ducking and diving on the pit lane there, just trying to confuse a few people, but he also confused himself as he almost spun out as well. What's he trying to do? He's on the grass there. Not quite sure what his antics are right now. Reservoir Course finished P2 back in the British GP, his highest finish for a long, long time. Reservoir as well. So Kenny somehow has managed to get himself a 3-second time penalty under a safety car as well. So yeah, this is not the best Kenny, is it? Unfortunately, we know he's a man of good talent and raw pace, but today's like this where unfortunately everything just keeps going wrong. He's taken multiple podiums in the past as well, especially season 12 when he was a high contender. Bahrain Grand Prix as well, Australian Grand Prix when he took a podium there too. I think he hasn't won a Grand Prix yet, maybe just one, but he's definitely been on the podium quite a few times, has Kenny as well. It's bad for me to say because I need to do a lot of research. My research these days hasn't been up to grasp because I haven't really been, I haven't had the time to focus. Yes, as a commentator, it is quite embarrassing, but at the same time, though, we're here to have fun, not too seriously, but yeah, at a serious moment in time, we're still going to go racing very, very soon. Steve will be the safety car leader, and let's see when he decides to pull the trigger. It's reminiscent of 2008, of course, when Sebastian Vettel was in the Toro Rosso, leading here in Monza in the wet conditions. But Steve, of course, in the AlphaTauri, or should I say Racing Bull, because AlphaTauri, don't forget, in 2020 took a victory as well, with Pierre Gasly winning his first race of his career too. And Kenny has hit Mick as well. We're going to go racing under the safety car restart, and so far Steve has got a good restart, but Harrison behind us is under massive pressure. We can see AJ Wuhan and Bob Pierre tucked in the slipstream of the Mercedes driver as we head down towards turn 1. The main straight we go. Let's see if anybody's going to make a move as we head down towards turn 1. Mercedes under massive pressure, but still Bob Pierre gets ahead of AJ Wuhan. He goes around the outside, so AJ was attacking, but got overtaken by Bob Pierre as the two kick Saubers in the background are going side by side. Now Leroy is under massive pressure from Pease right behind too, as Pease just dives back in towards the slipstream there of Leroy as well. As we head down towards Kerbergrad, we go in towards the second Delaware chicane. And let's see if Pease can make a move as Jasper gets ahead of Dory too. So he's in one place as we head down towards this braking zone as Jasper almost hits the back of somebody and he makes contact with Ferrari 2 of Dory. So Jasper there becoming a bit of a cropper as well. Once again, as Jasper's in P9, he's almost a second away already of Pease as Dory there under massive pressure from Speedcrown to go side by side out of the first Lesmo, as Speedcrown has lost his end plate too. So unfortunately here for Speedcrown, a driver who has over 30 wins, almost 40 as well in CRL, has had football damage. The three-time champion, the championship leader, unfortunately here suffering in Monza as 3-4 gets ahead of Dory. He's up into P11, but not yet because Dory is back around the outside but gets squeezed off by 3-4-2. Of course, not a player you should go side by side to that particular part of the racetrack because it's so tight, and therefore one of you is bound to get pushed off the track. But it's still Steve World Gamer who leads this Grand Prix as Dory continues to fall down the order then. So not quite sure what's happening. Pease gets ahead of Leroy in the final corner. Has Leroy made a mistake? Might have done. And now Pease is ahead of him as he's right in the slipstream once again. Wants to take away that 6th place back. And let's see if Leroy can get it. Yes, he can. Leroy then goes up into 7th place. Not yet though, because there's Pease. But Leroy a bit brakes, lays the brakes in towards turn 1 to go side by side between turn 1 and turn 2. A bit of contact there between those two, but Leroy doesn't get a better race. A massive wheel spin there for the kick-start as the Mercedes of Pease stays in P7, but they've lost a whole bunch of time as well, as the gap is 1.6 seconds between himself and Reservoir. So those two fighting have lost themselves a loads and loads of time. Steve, however, exactly in first place, hasn't really stretched away from the rest of the field because Harris is still there. He's 3 tenths behind as well, so Harris has got some good pace here in Silverstone, in Monza, sorry. Unlike in Silverstone, but we'll see what he could do then against the likes of Steve or Gamer. I think Harrison retired back at the British GP as well last time out in Silverstone for round 3, but he's up there so far in P2, putting the pressure on Sieb and also Bob right behind too. Bob and Sieb, who have been close to match together this season, they've always got themselves in a battle, those two. Two good contenders. They've been around CRL for such a long time. Both winners, race winners as well, because Sieb, I think he appeared back in season 6 and he took a podium too, didn't he, at the British GP. He won for his third race in CRL after appearing back in the first race as well. But Sieb, Bob Pierre now across the line to start another lap 7 out of 27, 20 laps left to go in the Grand Prix, and Bob Pierre's put the pressure on Harrison as we head down towards turn 1, but it's too far behind to make any sort of impact. Who is confident on the brakes here? Who can send one on the inside in towards turn 1? Do a Daniel Ricciardo type move as well, headed down in towards turn 1, where he overtook Bottas, Raikkonen as well back in 2018, 2017, with those famous moves headed down towards turn 1. This race as well is also the last race where Daniel Ricciardo won in his F1 career back in 2021, because he had such a solid sprint race, didn't he? I think he started second place because Bottas won the sprint, then dropped in towards last place after an engine penalty. Then it was Ricciardo on the front row with Verstappen in first place, and I think Ricciardo took the lead of the Grand Prix towards turn 1, and he won too. What a fantastic race that was, where Verstappen and Hamilton came into contact in towards turn 2. Verstappen over the top of Hamilton, and that really did spice up the championship as well when they come together twice in that season, in that epic championship battle with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton in 2021. But look at that, Harrison goes a bit wide there. Is Bob going to capitalise and take away P2? Goes a bit deep in towards Scari. He has to run that back straight, but maybe wait for turn 1, because now the gap between Sieb and Harrison is 1 second. Sweet Crown gets ahead of Jasper, puts himself up into P9. Doing a very good job, Sweet Crown, despite a broken wing. So good pace there from the Williams driver too. And Bob Pierre does get ahead of Harrison. Then he goes side by side on the straight. He puts himself up into P2. And now he could chase down Sieb. But Sieb versus Bob for the win. And it's going to be such an epic battle between those two as well. Because Sieb hasn't won. Bobby hasn't won either this season. So it's going to be their first win of the season. But it depends which driver can get it as well. Does Sieb have the pace, control, and keep that gap over Bob Pierre? Does Bob Pierre have the pace now? It's closing on Sieb Raw Game in front of us for first place. The gap is 1.8 seconds there between Bob Pierre and Sieb, so I think Bob Pierre's got a whole big task on him, as in the background Bosch Evans there dips the wheel on the grass, and unfortunately for him has lost a bit of time too. He's got the gap over Reservoir, so not exactly under pressure from behind, but Bosch Evans there running in P5 doing such a solid result as well here in Monza, the temple of speed. Bosch Evans as well also picked up a podium. His last win came at the Mexican Grand Prix when he was a tier 2 driver but won in tier 1 surprisingly, but now he's running tier 1. And he's doing an epic job so far. P5 hasn't picked up a podium yet this season either. Has Bosch Evans. He picked up a puncher though, that's why he picked up at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And in Netherlands, I think he did a good job there too. Finished aside the top 10, but in Silverstone, I think he just got beaten by Darian AJ towards the last few laps of the Grand Prix, as 3-4 gets ahead of Jasper. 3-4 did a mega job so far. A tier 2 driver, Jasper! Oh, almost hits the back of 3-4, and I'm really sure that if Jasper did that, 3-4 be on him as well, like a car bunny, but unfortunately there for Jasper has lost a bit of time. Cross Liam now is putting the pressure on Jasper in front of him. The fight for P11 there, as Pease is ahead of Reservoir, goes up into P6. Pease also making good ground as well. In the back, I can see the Red Bull looking for a move on the inside as Nathan ahead of Darian to P13. Such a shame for Nathan because he broke his wing, and I wonder what could he have done as well. But Sieb Gamer is pulling away from Bob. The gap is 2.6, so it looks like Sieb has some mighty pace to extend that gap over Bob Pierre 2 in second place there. So keeping a good gap over Bob Pierre 2. I wonder, could we see the dry conditions as well in towards the latter part of the Grand Prix? Because it rained in the Netherlands, but not the whole way through. I think it stopped at like 16, 17 when people pitted onto a set of the dry compound tyres. So we could see the same thing happen here in Monza as well, from dry to wet conditions. It does look like he's getting lighter, but Bob makes a big mistake into Scari, and here comes Harrison, but he's blocked off there. No way to overtake at all, as he has to settle behind in P3 at burst. This would cause a massive concertina effect now with Bob making a mistake into Scari. Guys behind like Harrison, AJ, Bosch Evans can now pounce on him as we head down in towards the final corner. I wonder, will Bob be under massive pressure as we head down towards turn one? Looks like the Aston Martin is struggling. He's losing so much time against Steve Gamer as Steve extends his gap once again. But Harrison is right to the back of Bob too. No DRS, of course, enabled as we head down towards the main straight. Here comes Harrison with the lack of battery as we head down towards turn one. Harrison is going to make a move as we head down towards the break. So we go. Can he make a stick? He can, as he puts himself up into second place and well ahead of Bob too. So nice control. He didn't run out wide, did he? It was a nice simple pass against Bob now up at second place, retaking that place away. But here comes Bob back though. Will he try and dare someone on the inside in towards the second chicane? He won't. He stays behind the Mercedes driver for the time being then, as Harrison stays in P2 but makes a little bit of a mistake going towards that second chicane there as well. So Bob did not capitalise from that, as AJ Wuhan as well, just looking in the background, seeing when he can pick his moment, when can he overtake those two ahead of him as well, because the five on the podium is there, the podium is in his sights, but when can he overtake? How can he overtake these two as well? Because Bob and Harrison, P2, P3, as Steve Gamer in the foreground just pulls away. The gap is 4.7 seconds. Do you know what? If Steve doesn't win this race, then I don't know how he can win a race, because he had such a good chance back at the Dutch GP and other races too. Because I remember Steve, every time he's had a chance to win the Grand Prix, something just happens to him. Unfortunately for him, he's got a good pace, but it seems like bad luck is on his side. I really hope that he has good luck around here in Monza. Look at that, Harrison goes out wide, Bob comes back underneath him, and Bob takes away second place. But Harrison and AJ Wuhan are right in the slipstream there to take away P2, as Harrison might make a move again. Yes, he will. Pulls to the left hand side there, in towards turn one, side by side between Harrison and Bob Let's see, last of the late breakers between these two. Harrison is the outside line in towards turn one, inside for turn two, but can Bob get a better exit? No, we can't. Harrison, neat move there. It's up into P2 as well. Such an intense battle for the battle for P2. Bob is thinking about AJ Wuhan because he knows he has to attack and defend as well. He wants to try and make sure he keeps AJ behind to have a good chance of keeping up with Harrison as well. But AJ poised in the background, looking for an overtake as well. Bosch Evans is right there too. So it's a battle between P2 to P5 between these guys. A four-way fight for the podium, but AJ goes a bit deep and Bosch Evans comes through. Bosch Evans is up into fourth place there. This is a big chance for him to be in the podium step two for the first time since last season. Bosch Evans there. Of course, he raced in Division 2. I don't really keep up with Division 2 either in terms of results as well, so my bad on that one. But he has taken podiums. He's taken a win at the Mexican Grand Prix as well last season, so he has a win and a few podiums to his name. But a podium for him is a high chance around here in Monza, the temple of speed. But of course, it's very easy to make a mistake as well. We've seen Bob make a mistake. We saw AJ Wuhan also make a mistake too. Harrison's made a few mistakes as well, but he's still up there in P2, capitalising for Bob as well. But it's going to be lap 12 out of 27 and almost in towards the halfway point of this Grand Prix so far. And the leader is Steve Gamer in first place. The gap is 5.6 seconds, a commanding lead over Harrison and the guys behind too. He remains unchallenged at the front of the field, whilst the guys in P2 to P5 fighting for the podium. Pease is closed in two. In the background, we can see Nathan JB. Another move on cross the M&A, puts himself up into P12 ahead of the Red Bull driver there. This race reminds me of a certain race I had as well, as Bob there slides in towards the second chicane. He goes as well under pressure from Bosch Evans behind, although Bosch Evans is one second back, so maybe himself he made a mistake as well on that lap. But Bosch Evans there in P4 looking for a podium against Bob who is a multiple race winner and also a multiple podium sitter too. He's second place in the championship is IRT Bob Look is trying to take away the championship lead in towards this race, and if he does, then that'll be a good way to start the championship for him as well. He hasn't won a race yet this season for Bob so he's still looking for his first win of the season. He's picked up 3 podiums in a row. This could be his 4th podium in a row too for Bob so he's picked up those podiums like Infinity Stones. But he's still looking for that first win. Bompier's had good chances to win this season back in the Dutch GP, but unfortunately those safety cars came out and it helped those guys behind too. Sweet Crown has overtaken Leroy back in the Bahrain Grand Prix too, as Leroy is back ahead of Sweet Crown. Sweet Crown's still going on those on that broken wing. As you can see, that Sweet Crown has a lot of straight line speed there. Reduced drag for the Williams driver with a broken end plate as he closes in on the back on the kickstart, but then looking to overtake him once again as Sweet Crown there. Side by side as we head down in towards turn 1. Leroy last the late breakers in towards the first and second corner there. He stays ahead of Sweet Crown for the time being there, but Sweet Crown might do a switch back in towards turn 1 and turn 2. Can he get a better exit than Leroy? He certainly can. He draws alongside him, and let's see what happens going down in towards the second chicane. They make contact as well. Right front to left rear tyre as we head down towards the heavy braking zone. Sweet Crown just stays behind Leroy there for the time being. He's under massive pressure, is the Irishman. The Irishman who makes a return back to league racing after a long time off as well. Leroy has also taken a win around here at CRL 2. Last race win was last season. Was it in, I'm trying to think now, was it Las Vegas or Qatar? I can't exactly remember, but he definitely took a win last season, did Leroy. And he's also picked up a few podiums along the way. But it took him a long time to win a Grand Prix for Leroy there. I remember him back in season 5 and 6 with Liam Carrag, Cameron Dowles, Sweet Crown Peas, all those heavy hitters as well. It just took a long time for him to win a Grand Prix. CRL has had a lot of history as well from season 1 to season 13, and we're still going. Harrison, however, builds that gap over 1.3 seconds. He sets the fast lap of the race, and he continues to build that gap over Bompier in P3. So he's left Bompier alone for the time being. So he's finally broken free against Bompier. I wonder as well, is this race going to go from inters to dries? And if it is, are these drivers going to have to manage these tyres as well? Is it going to be a full race? I'd love to see scenarios like this where people have to extend the inters, not fight too hard in the opening stage of the Grand Prix, have to really manage the tyres as well, because you want to do the inter to dry. You don't want to do inter dry, because that second stop will unfortunately lose all that time. As rotation says, it will dry up as well, so we're going to have a dry race towards the end of the Grand Prix, but when? That's the question of when. These drivers don't want to pit too early, especially the guys in front of the field. The Sweet Crown there goes a bit deep, but of course he's suffering with that broken front wing there. So Bompier is dropping backwards. The gap is 1.6 seconds between himself and Harrison in P2. Bosch Evans is slowly but surely closing in as well. Back at the Dutch GP, do you remember Bompier as well? When he struggled in the early parts of the Grand Prix, he was dropping backwards and had pace towards the end as well. So Bompier is, I dare say, a bit of an unknown when it comes to wet conditions, because sometimes he can do really well, sometimes he might be struggling too, but he's in P3 for the time being. A driver as well who's fighting in CSS on Sundays and also PSGL as well, so he's got a lot of experience with rain and fighting with the guys at the top of the field too. Fighting for a championship against Jeroen Visser as well. He must be said going against him in PSGL F3. He lost the win, did Bompier, but of course I don't think you want me to mention that, although I just did unfortunately. But yeah, Bompier and Jeroen had a great scrap for the win of the Grand Prix back in the Belgian Grand Prix PSGL on Monday. 3-4 however still there at the back of Sweet Crown, so the Aston Martin, the Scotsman, in P10, showing some mighty pace, and that is a move from Nathan JB. Side by side with Jasper into 1 and 2, but Bosch Evans is right behind Bompier. We go side by side as we head down in towards the second chicane. He takes third place away, but Bompier on the outside has the inside line going for the turn 4. He stays ahead for the time being there, but can Bosch Evans get a better switchback, better exit? He can't. That was super close, headed down towards the second chicane there. That's why it's so important to drink as well, because I don't drink water throughout this race as well, so my voice tends to dry up as well. Sorry about that if you hear me struggling to speak, but of course, being a solo commentator and not drinking at the same time as well is quite difficult, because you've got so much you want to mention. I want to say a lot about the British GP, about drivers' performances, but at the same time, no, you've got to keep up with the action here as well. So, side note there from me. It can be quite difficult because there's so much to talk about, but at the same time, though, when can you talk about it? Because heading towards this Grand Prix, you have a script, you have a plan of what you want to talk about, but it never gets mentioned as well. That's why I want to talk about commentary, because I want to mention a lot of things, but it's just so hard to do so, like pick your right moments as well. This is going to be an interesting debate between Bosch Evans and Bompier too, P3 and P4. I do believe Bosch Evans and Bompier have come to blows back at the Bahrain Grand Prix when they had a bit of back and forth. But of course, that was with CRL Gamer as well in P1. Steve has been leading the Grand Prix since lap 1 and nowhere to be seen. But Harrison, though, a stable gap. The gap hasn't really gone up and down too much between those two. The gap is like 4.6, 4.7 every lap. So consistent pace from those two, from Sieb and Harrison there. Now Harrison's dropped Bob here out of his wing mirrors. I wonder if his pace is bettered, and therefore, look at those lap times as well from Harrison. That's the wrong person, sorry. That's Bob here. Yeah, in the 27s, Bobby's been in the 30s as well, so Bobby's lap times have been dropping off quite significantly. A 30.8 as well, so massive lost time there for Bobby too. However, C4 Gamer, his lap times has been in the 27s mostly as well, as it fluctuates, but his best lap time came on lap 9. The gap is 4.6 still, so you can definitely see that the gap at the top has stabilised between those two. But bringing down a 4.6 second gap is just difficult. Reservoir gets ahead of Peas as those two scrap away for P6 there. Reservoir is ahead. So I think it's a case where these guys, it's not a non-stop strategy surely, because the intermediates can't go all the way to the end. But what these guys are thinking about doing now is taking these tyres a long way before it dries up. And I wonder, like at the Belgian Grand Prix, AJ's pitted, Peas has pitted too. So they're not going to wait for the dry period as into pit lane comes Leroy and 342. So these guys are pitting onto a new set of the intermediates, I dare say. They can't go to the hards because it's too wet for sure. Hardcore power tyres for Peas. And this is inters for Leroy and Freefall and the rest of the guys too. So Peas has gone for the hardcore power tyres, but like in Silverstone, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, hardcore power tyres did not work at all. They lost so much time as well. So being the right time at the right time. But I think Peas wants to take his tyres for a long way. And as you can see here, he's on the wrong tyre at the moment. He needs to stop raining right now if he wants any chance to be up there. Bosch Evans is still putting the pressure on Bob here in front of him as well. So Bosch Evans there, desperate for a podium. He's not been a podium since, what, seasons ago or two? But he's right there in P4, puts the massive pressure on Bob here right in front of him too. I really do need to update the stats and standings because I haven't done that for such a long time. But with some missing results from previous seasons like season 12 and 13, I can't really do stats anymore like I used to. I'm still waiting for those lost results from previous rounds because I don't want the information to be inaccurate. Oh, Sieb, once again, has a 10-second time for speed in the pit lane, like he did at the Dutch GP. That's the exact same moment as well, when he was leading and picked up a penalty. It's just these unnecessary moments happening in league racing. It doesn't need to be done. C4 Gamer, by doing this, has really cost himself a chance of winning now, as Bosch Evans, Harrison and Bob Pierre all of a sudden have a chance to win the Grand Prix after seeing that this man has picked himself up a 10-second penalty. And side by side with him, that is Nathan ahead of him. Nathan goes up into P4 there ahead of Sieb. It's just these moments where it can really destroy your race. You could be so consistent, you could be so dominant, but at the same time, these things cost you races. Like at the Dutch GP, Jeroen Visser and C4 Gamer picked up 10-second penalties in that Grand Prix, both leading to first and second place, and it cost them dearly towards the end. I don't think Sieb picked up a podium after that either, and neither did Jeroen Visser because he retired too. So once again, C4 Gamer has shot himself in the foot again. It's just a shame. It's just a shame because he's got so much potential, but he keeps making these stupid mistakes. It must be said, really, really stupid mistakes. As Sieb then puts the pressure on Nathan in front of him. I know Sieb will be kicking himself because he had such a dominant lead in this Grand Prix. Was he a bit too relaxed? I'm not quite sure, because sometimes in first place you can lose focus because nobody's putting the pressure on you. As Harris is pitted and C4 Gamer now pulls and draws alongside Nathan, but Nathan there still fighting as we head down towards this last corner. Sieb gets ahead of Nathan JB, and finally as well, just want to get stuck behind him any longer than he would have wanted to, but lost a bit of time towards, I think, Harrison as well. So Harrison pits, and he's going to go on the intermediate compound tyres. I think these drivers are forced into a two-stop strategy from into dry. But the question is, though, when is the dry period coming? Is it like 26, 27, when there's no point going to the intermediate dry compound tyres, as Harrison rejoins in P5 ahead as well of Jasper, which is very important because he's got crossed in behind too. So he rejoins in some clean air in P5. Where's Bob Pierre? Bob Pierre has dropped so far back as well. A horrid time. Where's Bosch Evans? Bosch Evans is still in first place. Wow. There is no way this man is going to take these inters towards the end now. Surely not. How good has his tyre management been? Is he trying to wait for the dry period? Same with Sweetground as well in P2. Is he waiting for the dry period to come as well? This man is in the Grand Prix, but I wonder how close are these inters to a puncture? Because I know Alex knows this as well. I had a race similar to this where I took the inters from lap 3 to the end because I did a one-stop. Look at this! Oh, I thought it stopped raining then. I was so excited. I thought for 1 second it had stopped raining, but it's still drizzling down. And if the rain stops right now, Sweet Crown and Bosch Evans could do inter to dry, whilst the rest of the people have done inter dry. Except for Pease. Pease is still out there on those hard compound tyres as Sweet Crown has been overtaken by Sieb, sorry. This is a big chance for Bosch Evans. He wishes that the rain stops right now, and it has. The rain has stopped, but at the same time though, you've got to wait for the dry compound tyres to kick in because it's still greasy out there. Sweet Crown has pitted as well. He's pitted onto a new set of the medium compound tyres. It is the medium compound tyres. So Bosch Evans has done an absolute blinder. His tyre management has been so sufficient in first place. He could win the Monza Grand Prix. And if he can, what an amazing drive, but there's still a long way to go. There is 7 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. Can he make these tyres go towards the distance when he needs to? Because he don't want to pit too early on the dry compound tyres because the track will be greasy and slippery and therefore he make mistakes. And the tyres will heat up as they need to be as well. So the optimum working window. This is a big chance for Bosch Evans to win, and I'm excited. If he wins this Grand Prix, an historical win for Bosch Evans as well. A proper character amongst the CRL chat as well. An ACC driver as well. He was the one between Season 9 and Season 10 who introduced the idea of ACC. And my goodness me, it has worked indeed. We had a league as well on Sundays when it used to be ACC, but these guys themselves still race around that game as Reservoir gets ahead of Knowsley as well. Knowsley taking his tyres for a long way too in this Grand Prix. There is 7 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. Knowsley is hanging off for dear life, but I wonder how close he is towards puncher territory as he has to pit this lap. Bosch Evans has pitted then. Is it too early? 1 lap too early as Sieb continues to set the fastest of the Grand Prix. He's on the soft compound tyres towards the end. 5 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. He's on the softs. And I really hope those tyres can get up to temperature immediately. He has to get these tyres up to working window right now to have a chance of winning the Grand Prix. He's built up such a gap as Bosch Evans. He's put an absolute blinder in terms of strategy, but these soft compound tyres have to work now. Here comes Reservoir alongside Bosch Evans as we head down towards Turn 1, but he stays ahead for the time being. How quickly can he get these softs working? That's the question. He needs to get the temperature right now, and if he does, then this is going to be an absolute blinder of a strategy. He's made the one-stop work. He's taken us into the distance because this race was all about saving the intermediate compound tyres by not pushing them too hard as well. But he needs to keep it within the white lines. There's Bosch Evans there as Roddy Stiffwell gets a 3-second penalty as well. I really hope that, I pray that no safety cars come out right now. I really hope it doesn't because we're in for a good race as well. This has been such a fantastic race in terms of strategy and managing tyres. And Bosch Evans in the end has made it work into soft compound tyres. He was winning in P6 which was the Grand Prix. Slowly but surely made his way to the field. He overtook AJ in the first Lesmo when he went out wide. Then got to the back of Harrison and Bompier. Sieb, however, could still be on the podium because the gap is 11.6 seconds. So P2 and P3 could be at best for the man that was destined to win this Grand Prix. But unfortunately, he picked up that penalty as a Ferrari's teammate. You don't want to be called safety car, especially your teammate as well. That could completely ruin this. Bompier gets a 10-second penalty as well. Massive shame. Even Sweet Crown could get ahead of him as well in the championship. So the heavy contenders at the top of the field are making mistakes, picking up penalties, and these are the things you don't need in a championship fight as well. These things matter as Nathan now sets the quickest lap time of the race. But surely this is Bosch Evans to win the Grand Prix. Unless Sieb, however, could take these towards the end of the Grand Prix. He can think about, nah, I don't want to pit on the dry compound tyres, I might as well take them towards the end. He does have a penalty, of course, a speed penalty, which is legitimate, so he can't get it removed. I don't think Sieb wants to pit again because he knows if he pits again, he has to serve a 10-second penalty. So Bosch Evans has got a lot of work to do. The race isn't over because he needs to bring that gap down. The track will continue to get drier and drier in towards his favour and bring that gap down under 10 seconds. So Bosch Evans there needs to bring that gap down now as well. 5 laps have to go in the Grand Prix, while Sieb Royal Gamer will be desperate to keep that gap over 6 seconds. Dari has pitted then. and he is out of the Grand Prix. The last thing that Josh probably needs right now is a safety car, because this race is going his way. He chose strategy. He managed the tyres really well in the opening stage of the Grand Prix, kept them alive, and kept them alive when he needed to as well, at the very last second when they could have got to puncher. 20 laps of the Inters is quite a long way too. You may think it's a boring race right now, but at the same time, though, there's still a lot to go on. Rectify's still no P3. Pease could get a podium too, but Leroy's right behind as Bosch Evans now sets the fastest for the Grand Prix. This is going his way for Bosch Evans there in P2. The track will continue to get drier and drier. Unless it rains right now, that's the last thing he needs is rain right now. As Bob Pierce retired in the pit lane. Oh my goodness me, man. It's a safety car. Why has he done that? That is absolutely unnecessary. That's such a stupid thing to do in my opinion, but yeah, what a way to ruin the race. So I think C4 Gamer now will have a cheap pit stop and put on a new set of tyres, and Bosch Evans will be absolutely frustrated with that one. He could serve his 10-second time penalty as well in the pit lane. Well, I'll be back with you for a sprint race towards the end of the Grand Prix after a safety car has been brought out to neutralise this race after Bob Pierre hitting the pit lane entry. I don't know why he's done that. Unless he got forced into the wall by somebody, then fair enough, but that is such a silly way to go out of the Grand Prix in my opinion. And Bosch Evans decides to stay out there. He takes a track position in as Reservoir can go in the pit lane. Pease is not pitting either. He stays out there. Leroy stays out there too. Do you know what? We could have a good race towards in the Grand Prix on different tyres. Every single driver could be on different tyres towards the end. And let's see what the situation is. I think the intermediates will be off now. So whoever's on Inters can get off those tyres and put on a set of soft compound tyres. Bosch Evans could be still in contention to win the Grand Prix, but the last thing he needed was a safety car because things were running smoothly. Everything was in place until a safety car came out, which neutralised the race and brought everybody back together. I hope his soft compound tyres has enough life in them to take them towards the end. Sieb has rejoined P5 on a new set of medium compound tyres. This race could get messy towards the end because there's so many chances and opportunities for those people as well to try and take back some good points, podiums, and possibly a win. C4 Gamer now is in P5 on a brand new semi compound tyres, and let's see, can Sieb win his first race of the season? Can Bosch Evans do it as well in P1? I really hope his soft compound tyres is alive. He'll be hoping that safety car comes in lap 26, so there's only one lap of action left, so he'll be waiting towards in the Grand Prix. But AJ Wuhan in the background in P16 is yet to catch up. Bob here is the main person that's caused the safety car as well. Down in P17, he crashed the pit lane entry. I'm not quite sure how he did it. Could it be a conspiracy to help the C4 Gamer as well to get rid of his penalty and put him on the medium compound tyres? Who knows? I'm only joking, by the way, Bob. He knows it's all a joke, of course. I won't be saying things like this in PSGL, but he knows that I'm only messing around, of course. I was a bit frustrated when that safety car came out because I was interested to see what would happen towards in the Grand Prix. But there's still good actions all the way to go. But for Bosch Evans' sake, if he loses this race, then it'd be a sad way to go because he has really, really controlled this race. And his strategy was going to work as well from Inter to dry. But unfortunately, the safety cars came out now, which completely ruined that and thrown it all out the window. But still, he could win the Grand Prix. He's got P's behind him on hard compound tyres around this circuit. He's got Harrison P3 and P4 on older tyres, the same tyres as him on the mediums. Sieb is on a new set, so I think Sieb could be his biggest rival towards in the Grand Prix. Back in Bahrain, when those two make contact, I expect elbows out as well between those two. I think we are in for an interesting race towards the end of the Grand Prix between every single driver, all fighting for those points, for those podium positions, and the race too. This could be an exciting sprint towards the end of the Grand Prix. And the safety car is in at the end of this lap. 2 laps of racing action then. DRS will be enabled, I think, on the final lap of the Grand Prix, but not on the main straight because the detection point is later on. So I think DRS will be enabled, but headed down out of second Lesmo towards the Ascari chicane as Alex gets himself a 3-second tablet down there in P15 ahead of AJ Wuhan. Well, we're in for an interesting end towards the end of the Monza Grand Prix with AJ in the background as well. What a shame for AJ Wuhan, running inside the top 5, but something went wrong for him as well, down there in 50th place. Of course, there's been a lot to talk about during the course of this Grand Prix, but what a spectacular, memorable Monza Grand Prix it has been so far and will be, because there's still a lot more to come towards the end of this lap. With the safety car coming in, with the race continuing, we get racing in Monza once again as it's Bosch Evans who leads them away, but Harrison is right behind Pease as well. 2 teammates are about to go see side by side in towards turn 1, but Pease just stays ahead of the time. But here comes Harrison down the inside in towards turn 1 he goes. Can he make it stick? He can. The Racing Bull and the Williams go side by side to the Sweet Crown and Steve going side by side there, but Sweet Crown gets a better exit than Steve World Gamer as Sweet Crown muscles his way up into 4th place on all the tyres. But Pease, we're looking to attack him down towards the second chicane on those better medium compound tyres. Can he make it stick? Will he go down the inside in towards the chicane? He goes. It's so tight between those two, but Sweet Crown stays ahead. But can Steve get a better exit out of the chicane? He can. Better exit side by side in towards the first Lesmo as Sweet Crown goes all the way on the outside off the track almost because he broke his wing as well. As Steve still in P4. Here comes Nathan JB with the inside in towards the second Lesmo. Back up into P5 as well after breaking his wing in the first round. In the first lap actually. He broke his wing in the first lap and he's still up into P5. So Bosch Evans still leads. Harrison gets a 3-second time penalty as well. We're heading towards the last lap of the Grand Prix. And Bosch Evans is pushing at its hardest spots, keep the Mercedes driver at bay. But unfortunately, Harrison has got that 3-second time penalty. So essentially, Bosch Evans could let Harrison go and focus on the guys behind. But here we go, out of power by look at that. The DRS will be enabled on the next lap as it's lap 27 out of 27. The final lap of the Grand Prix, Mercedes versus Ferrari as we head down towards Space Straight as Harrison pulls out to the right side to take the lead of the Grand Prix. But Bosch Evans does not have a 3-second penalty as well. As we head down towards turn 1, Bosch Evans can't be overtake him. His soft compound tyres has done a mega job to hold in as well. It's Mercedes who's leading the Grand Prix, but Tifosi will be happy as they know they've got a Ferrari driver in P2 who is looking like he's going to win the Grand Prix. As Steve is right behind Pease as well, battle for the podium, but I think Pease has no response as Steve goes back up into P3. Next target, there is Bosch Evans right there for the taking, but a bit too late on the scene. After overtaking Sweet Crown, Nathan and Pease, he's up into P3, puts the pressure on Bosch Evans in front of him, but Bosch Evans there, a massive oversteer out of the first Lesmo too, as Steve is pushing really hard, as both kick sabers are dropping backwards. What a Monza Grand Prix to remember as well. What a fantastic race this has been so far. Mixture of strategies, and Bosch Evans up into P2, who looked like he could win his first race since the Mexican Grand Prix, but Steve is still there. He's still right there with so much ERS in stir. Look at this, Steve's gaining again on Bosch Evans then as we head down towards Parabolica. Can Steve make a move? Down the inside he goes for the lead of the Grand Prix. He spins! Steve has spun, and here comes Bosch Evans then as he powers out of the final corner. Last lap attack did not go well for Steve, but Bosch Evans wins the Monza Grand Prix. What a fantastic drive it's been, and Nathan JB on the podium, but Pease is up into P3. A double Mercedes podium. Fantastic for Pease. He pitted onto the hard compound tyres at the wrong stage of the Grand Prix, but watch the carnage unfold in front of him. It is Bosch Evans who has won the Monza Grand Prix for Ferrari, his first win since, I think it is, the Mexican Grand Prix last season. Fantastic for him. Steve tried it, but Bosch Evans there had the racing line and stayed ahead, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that result. A great win to remember, a great race to remember as well. What a last lap showdown that was. that we'll see it then for the Monza Grand Prix. Hopefully you enjoyed that race, and what a race to remember as well. Podium interviews will be there. Bosch Evans has joined the podium interviews, and congratulations on a fantastic victory here in Monza as well. And how old were those inters towards that part of the race? Because it must be so old, 20 lap old inters, and you managed to make them survive towards the end, unlike other people, and you did into soft compound tyres. Talk us through your race, mate. You must be absolutely ecstatic with that race.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good fun. I was never going to pit onto fresh inters. I'll always just gamble it out. What is it? 75% or 85% where you get a puncture? Like that's when you can start to get a
about
puncture.
85%.
Yeah, I think I was on like 89 or 90%. But I was always going to risk it being at the top. I'm not just going to play it safe when I got a chance of winning it. So yeah, I took the risk. I had a dive on me in the last corner. That was pretty much all the action I had. The rest of the race, I had a bit of dancing with Bompier, where he had a half spin in turn 1, and then I fought him into the next chicane. But that's literally about all the action I had until the last lap. And then Harrison, obviously on the fresher tyres, I couldn't have pit onto fresh. I could have pit onto fresh mediums, but I would have had a lot of people overtake me, and then I'd have to do some fighting, which I couldn't be asked to do, to be honest. So I stayed out on the softs, and then Harrison got a penalty in the end, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, it was a good race. My first Cone win, I think.
Yeah, it was a very good race indeed as well. And talk us through that safety car. Did you want the safety car, or was it going to put you at a massive disadvantage? Yeah, okay, that's what I said. That's what I said on screen.
I had P's. I was the only one of the top runners that took the risk of staying out on the inters and risking the puncture, and I reaped the rewards from it. But then, obviously, the safety car came out and completely screwed me, because P's, who pitted on the hards really early, managed to get up with us, and I thought Pease would be good for me being behind me. I thought he might hold up Harrison, but Harrison got him done quick and easy in turn 1. And then yeah, I don't think I was going to be able to keep Harrison back, because the softs were just too worn on the rears. I had to fight him in the like dampish conditions. But apart from that, it's a good race. It's tough. I'm knackered.
Yeah, you should be thrilled with that race as well. I know you always take a gamble, you always do, and this gamble worked indeed as well. I'm very happy that you won the Grand Prix. And how do you feel now towards the next race? I think the next race, I just looked at the calendar, I completely forgot immediately. So the next race is at Suzuka. How do you feel that one?
I love Suzuka. I love doing Suzuka on GT7, F1 or ACC. It's just like a really fun, like, flowing track. I know it'll probably be. I haven't raced it once this year on this game, so I've not even done TT around there, I don't think. So see what the traction zones and stuff are like in the tyre. The tyre is going to be awful. It's awful everywhere, but it'll be fun. Probably going to be wet weather there as well.
Yeah, possibly as well. I bet you had a few thoughts in your head as well when that safety car came out, knowing where that driver retired at the pit lane entry. So I bet you had a few thoughts in your head, didn't you?
What happened?
Well, I didn't see it, but Bonpierre literally he retired the pit lane entry. He bounced into the wall and lost his wheel at the very start of the pit lane entry.
How's a driver of his skill done that then?
No idea. It could be. I said it could be a conspiracy to help Sieb get rid of his penalty and put him in a couple of tyres. Of course, it was all a joke, but yeah, that's a very suspicious safety car that was.
I guess we'll have a look. We'll have a look.
But anyways, well done today, mate, and congratulations on your win. We move on to the second race in Japan. So yeah, what a fantastic race.
Thank you.
See you all in Japan for the next race as well, and take care and enjoy the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend.